Hi, how are you? I'm back from the second visit to the hospital. I told you about it in a previous video that I had a kind of bad reaction of going to maternity hospital because of my bad experiences over there. Somebody might say it's a post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, but somebody might say that is a reaction to trauma, but that's for therapists to decide. I'm only a fellow human being who faces situations like this. Well, today I went there again and it went better. I thought in advance from the start that we left home that this is going to be better, that I have now realized what the reaction was and why it did come so powerfully over me. But that situation is over. That is no longer the reality. My son is a fine, healthy young man, and the things that happened then don't affect anymore to barely anything. And then I thought that I have really a purpose of being there. I have they not need me, but they prefer me to come there. So they need me in that sense. And I have a lot to give. I have taken care of my babies when they were small, and I can teach a lot of things to them. Just about baby handling and everything like that. And that was other thing that I knew that I was waited. I was expected there. And of course I knew that I would be going with my husband, so whatever happens, if I feel bad, he's able to physically carry me out there. He's strong enough, strong enough, and I be safe, and I be out of the situation, I'll be out of the room. And then on top of that, I thought about a few things that I do when I feel like I really shut down. If I know it, that this is happening strongly enough, and I know that I have to resist. But I left home with these things in my head, and of course we tried to, when we walked there, we tried to talk about different kind of things so my head wouldn't get jammed. It's usually when I'm a little bit moody or anxious, my husband starts to talk about different things, so presidential election or whatever. He starts to go over these things with I don't know, with kind of really, really powerful style. So we talked when we went over there, and we were a little bit early, so we sat down to the park and ate ice cream before we went to the hospital. And that was something else to cut the cycle, to do everything just as similar, same way that it happened before. Because I think that's always something to take note. If you take the same route, you take the same things, then your mind and your body starts to build up the expected situation. And it's good to have something to break the cycle, to start from zero again when you have built your anxiety to 7 already. So then 10 minutes before we entered the hospital, we got to break the cycle. In my head, my husband was fine. And then when we went to the front doors, then we used the restrooms at the lobby, and I went and washed my hands with the hot water and with the cold water, so I can get a feeling to my body functioning properly. It's something that I notice is that you can go numb, physically numb, and that's something that's alarming sign that now something is happening in your head that's not good. So I washed my hands, and then I was almost normal when I got there, when I got to the ward. And then, because there's a renovation going on, which is a awful mess, we had to take like 2 different elevators and go in certain floor that you can go from one elevator to another. So we really had to like think that where did we come from last time, and where do we go now, and it was again something else that has happened there before. So it broke the cycle in my head again. It's like, sounds foolish and childish that we have to like really navigate inside of a hospital, but we did, and there were no signs for some odd reason. In maternity wards, there are always visitors. They're supposed to be. They are not sick. They are just having baby, and it's always better to have as many people around the baby as possible to take care of him or her. Well, then we got to random ward and spent hour there talking and going through baby stuff. And I told the new mother when we had a little moment that this happened to me yesterday, that because of the situation my son was born, my head went to lockdown. It felt like I have an iron hammer. Helmet. It felt like I have iron helmet in my head, and that's why I was a little bit off. And she just, okay, well, it's not my place to try to explain that kind of things in that situation, because it's about them, it's not about me. But I thought that I just mention it so that she won't think that I'm resenting the baby or something like that by being quiet, because women in my age and my situation are supposed to be overly like talkative and positive and touching everything. But it's not my nature, like originally even. So I'm not going to turn into that kind of person now. I think so. Well, when we left there, I was, of course, relieved that my head was not in a frozen state, but it wasn't completely free either. So we walked to the train station and took a train home and continued the evening. And at some point it wore off, the small amount of anxiety that I have developed, but it wasn't that kind of total relief that it was in a previous day when I actually felt that my head started to relax and my mind returned to my head, and all the legs and hands I started to feel again, and they were relaxed again. I'm not a therapist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just a fellow human being that's going through this kind of emotions. And I thought that I record this because you might feel this kind of things too. There are places that bad things had happened to us in, and it's of course a question, do you avoid those places like altogether, or do you go there? I don't go there by purpose, so if this wouldn't have come up, I wouldn't have rush to the maternity hospital to face my demons. That's not, I don't think that is such a specific place that I wouldn't have done that. I didn't even know that this kind of reaction would come by just going there. But now that I had to go there, it would have been foolish not to go. I think so. It would have been a question of, even if I would have known that I have this kind of reaction. Of course, if I would have known, it would have been worse, I guess. But to think that, do I regret more by going, or do I regret more by not going? And I know that I would have regretted more not going. And then, of course, there are places that you have to go no matter what. Or no matter what, for example, if something happened in a train station, you have to go to the train station again. if you're traveling through that like every day to work and not going in circles so you can avoid certain places, that's not wise. But then you just have to like develop a strategy that you can go to those places and not feel paralyzed and not feel so bad. Just think that it's not the same situation. Think what you can do if you feel really bad. Does, for example, washing hands help you? Somebody says that splash water to your face, but I can't do that. I always wear makeup, so it would be weird. If I'm in a bad situation, I scratch my arms, but that's not a very good response. Somebody might think you're crazy or no, you're crazy, and that's not good either. But that's my like last resort. And of course, think that what's your purpose of being there? And that's the biggest thing that helped me with this going to the hospital, was knowing that there was a purpose for me to be there. And it was an important one. Please comment down below. Do you have this kind of places that it's hard for you to go? And do you have some kind of a methods that you can take to not feel so bad anymore when you go to the same places? Like how to control the anxiety and the form of being paralyzed. But I can thank myself for surviving this just fine and doing what I wanted to do and not have my crazy head just holding me back. I hope you have a great day. I see you soon. Goodbye.